You did everything right. You worked harder than anyone around you. You were there for everyone who needed you. You achieved things people told you to be proud of. And still, there was this quiet voice in the back of your mind, saying, "It's not enough. You are not enough." Maybe you've chased a version of yourself that kept moving further away. Maybe you've achieved something great and felt nothing. Maybe you've been loved, genuinely loved, and still felt unworthy of it. And you've never fully understood why. Why is nothing ever enough? Why does the feeling never go away? Today, we're going to answer that question, not with a motivational quote, with the truth. Section 1. The wound has a name. This feeling, this deep, persistent sense of not being enough, it didn't come from nowhere. It has a beginning. And that beginning, for most people, is childhood. Psychologists call it chronic shame. Not the kind of shame you feel when you make a mistake. The kind that lives inside you like a permanent resident. The kind that says, "I am the mistake." It's not about what you did. It's about who you believe you are. And this belief, this core wound, was placed there before you were old enough to question it. Maybe you had a parent who was never satisfied, whose praise came with conditions, who compared you to other kids, who made love feel like something you had to earn. Maybe nobody ever said you're not enough out loud. They didn't have to. It was in the silence after you showed them something you were proud of. It was in the sigh when you made a mistake. It was in the way love felt, unpredictable. One day warm, the next day cold. And a child who grows up in that environment learns one thing above all else: I must be the problem. Section 2. Your inner critic isn't yours. There's a voice in your head. You've heard it your whole life. It shows up when you make a mistake. Stupid, you should have known better. It shows up when someone pays you a compliment. They're just being nice. They don't really mean it. It shows up when things are going well. Don't get comfortable. You'll mess it up. That voice feels like yours. It sounds like yours, but it isn't. Psychologists call this the internalized critic. It's the voice of someone from your past, a parent, a teacher, a caregiver, that you absorbed so deeply. It became the voice you used to talk to yourself. You've been speaking to yourself in someone else's cruelty for years. And the most painful part? You believed it. You took their insecurity, their impatience, their own unhealed wounds, and you made them your truth. But here is what psychology wants you to understand. That voice is not evidence. It is not the truth about who you are. It is an old recording, playing on a loop, in a mind that was never meant to carry it. Section 3. Why achieving never fixes it. Here's something you've probably already figured out. Achieving things doesn't make it go away. You got the grade, still felt empty. You got the job, still felt like a fraud. You got into the relationship, still felt unlovable. This is not a coincidence. Psychologists call this the arrival fallacy, the belief that when you reach a goal, you will finally feel enough. But here's the problem. The wound of not enough is not an achievement problem. It's a belief problem. And no external result can fix an internal belief. You can climb the highest mountain, and the voice at the top will still say, "But was it high enough?" Because the goalpost was never fixed. It was designed to keep moving. So you keep running. So you never stop long enough to feel the original pain. Psychologists have found that people who struggle with deep feelings of inadequacy often become overachievers, not because they love success, but because achievement is the one place they feel temporarily safe from the feeling. It's not ambition driving you. It's fear. Fear that if you stop, if you slow down, the feeling will catch up, and you'll have to feel it. Section 4. How it shows up in your relationships. The wound of not feeling good enough doesn't stay inside you. It bleeds into every relationship you have. You overgive. You sacrifice your own needs to keep others happy, because somewhere you learned, if I'm useful enough, they'll stay. You seek constant reassurance. Not because you're needy, but because the reassurance only lasts a moment. Then the doubt creeps back in. You self-sabotage when things are good, because deep down, you don't believe you deserve good. You push people away right when they get close, because love feels dangerous when you believe you're fundamentally unworthy of it. You read into everything. One text not replied to quickly becomes, "They're probably tired of me." One quiet moment from your partner becomes, "I'm too much," or "not enough." It is exhausting. Living in a constant state of emotional audit. Checking, am I enough today? Did I do enough? Am I still worthy of being loved? And the answer always feels uncertain, because it was never really about them. It was always about the belief you formed, long before you ever loved anyone. Section 5, this is how you heal. Now here is the part that matters most, because understanding the wound is one thing, healing it is another. And I want to be honest with you, healing is not fast. It is not a single realization. It is not one video, one book, one therapy session. It is slow, it is uncomfortable, and it is absolutely possible. Step 1, separate the feeling from the fact. Not feeling good enough is a feeling, not an objective truth. Your brain is not a reliable narrator of your worth. Every time the voice says you're not enough, you practice saying that is a feeling, not a fact. It sounds simple. It is not easy, but it is where it starts. Step 2, stop outsourcing your worth. As long as your sense of value comes from achievement, from other people's approval, from being needed, it will always be fragile, because those things are outside your control. Worth that is outsourced is worth that can be taken away. The work is to find, slowly, imperfectly, a sense of value that lives inside you. That doesn't depend on what you produce, or who approves of you, or how much you do for others. Step 3, reparent yourself. This is what therapists mean when they talk about inner child work. The child inside you who learned they weren't enough still needs someone to say, "You are enough. You always were." And that someone has to be you, not because no one else will say it, but because you have to believe it. And you can only believe it when you start saying it to yourself. Start small. When you make a mistake, talk to yourself the way you would talk to someone you love. When you succeed at something, let yourself receive it. When someone says something kind, try not to immediately deflect. Just say thank you and let it in. You have spent so much of your life trying to become enough, working for it, proving it, performing it. But here is what psychology and every piece of real research on human worth keeps coming back to. You were never behind. The finish line was never real. You were enough before you achieved anything, before anyone approved of you, before you became useful to anyone. You were enough the moment you arrived. The wound was never the truth about you. It was the truth about what you didn't receive, and you are allowed to grieve that. And then you are allowed to heal. If this video reached something deep in you, something you've been carrying quietly for a long time, that is exactly what Psycholoom is here for. We don't just explain psychology, we talk about you, the real you, the one underneath the achieving and the performing and the I'm fine. Subscribe, because every week we go deeper into the wounds most people never name, into the patterns most people never see, into the healing most people never thought was possible for them. And share this video today with someone who never stops working but never feels satisfied, with someone who loves hard but never feels lovable, with someone who gives everything but can't receive anything. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can do for someone is hand them the mirror they've been avoiding. I'll see you in the next one.